former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin. Governor, good to see you.
Thank you, Sean. Thanks so much.
Why don't we just explain your piece, and then I have a few questions. Explain why you think the time is now, and that do you really want the Republicans to move forward with this?
Yes, it is time. A great awakening is due in this country, and this is the message that will be sent to our president, that he is not an imperial president, and lawlessness will not be accepted by the American people. That's not what he was elected to do, was to create his own laws as he goes along. I think it's time, a little less talk, a lot more action. When we see even GOP lawmakers who are recognizing and proclaiming Obama's violation of the Constitution and then ignoring that Constitution and the power they have to impeach, gets kind of frustrating for the American people. Somebody needs to look out for the working class Americans, and the tipping point in this drive towards impeachment for me has been the illegal immigration issue, the crisis created by Obama, where nobody's looking out for the working class of Americans, including good, hardworking, wonderful legal immigrants. Impeachment is a message that has to be sent to our president, that we're not going to put up with this lawlessness.
Governor, on the issue certainly of the IRS, I agree with you. And for those that don't have the historical reference, that was Article 2 of Richard Nixon's impeachment. And in fact, that was only the threat or the idea to do something that the IRS did. But I want to go specific. When you talk about lawlessness, that means choosing not to enforce immigration laws. That means not enforcing work requirements for welfare. That means unilaterally changing the Obamacare law. In other words, those things that the Republicans have said.
Yes, and it also means lying to the American people, and it means fraud. He has allowed fraud, his subordinates, and he himself, to fraud the American people on these programs, these policies that he has promised will work or will not impact debt or deficit. These have been lies by our president. Yes, those are impeachable offenses. Sean, experts, attorneys, they have a list of at least 25 impeachable offenses. Now, GOP lawmakers know this too. I really want Congress to do its job, the constitutional power that they have, to halt an imperial presidency, to halt this fundamental transformation of America that is making us an unrecognizable mess of a nation at this time.
Governor, liberal and constitutional professor Jonathan Turley said we are at a constitutional tipping point on the very lawlessness that you mentioned. Mark Levin, constitutional scholar, says this is a post-constitutional America. And I think a lot of people, I looked at the poll on Drudge today, whether people agree with you, it was over 70%. Should political considerations come in at all? I interviewed Pat Buchanan today. He thinks that liberalism is now on full display as a failure, and politically it would be a loser for Republicans. Should that matter?
Now, I think politics come into play more when you consider not rocking the boat, if you will, and allowing the liberalism agenda to fail on its own. I think that's kind of a political bent right there. And all due respect to Pat Buchanan, and I do respect his opinion, I disagree with him. I think, keep politics out of this then. This is a bipartisan issue. Americans, Congress, those who are concerned about protecting our Constitution and using the one tool that Congress does have to halt what is going on, this lawlessness coming from the top. The one tool they have are articles of impeachment. Let's get going on that. And it's not necessarily, Sean, a lawsuit being filed by Congress, because you don't bring a lawsuit to a gunfight, and there's no place for lawyers on the front lines. Where are the front lines in America? They are our borders.
Governor, on the issue of lawlessness, I agree with you. I agree with Jonathan Turley, and I agree with Mark Levin, three very bright people. But if you recall, the Republicans wouldn't even stand up. They have constitutional authority, the Republicans in Congress, to defund Obamacare. They could have taken a stand, and they didn't do it. I don't have any confidence that they would even consider this. Do you agree with me that they don't have the political backbone?
That they don't have the cojones to do it, if that's what you mean.
Okay, yeah,
Sean, you're
I was trying to be a little more delicate, Governor, but yeah, that's what I meant.
Not me, man. I go rogue. I'll say what I want to say. Sean, absolutely, man. Bingo, when you say, wait a minute, they had a constitutional tool to unfund Obamacare, and that was just fulfilling all of their campaign promises that they were going to repeal Obamacare, right? look what happened to the 1 or 2 or 3 good guys like Ted Cruz, Mike Lee, who stood up to fulfill their constitutional duty and their campaign promises. Man, they got thrown under the bus.
They got excoriated.
And the view isn't very good from under the bus. Well, the American people, I believe, are going to say this time, this go around, no, okay, we learned our lesson. And it will be us. We get the government that we support. We get the government, obviously, that we vote for, but that we put up with. How about we don't put up with this lawlessness? Washington is broken. If people care about the future of this country and defense of our republic, they will join this cause of articles of impeachment against Barack Obama, because enough is enough.
Governor, last question. When we spoke last, you talked about you are considering leaving the Republican Party. Where are you on that issue right now?
Been a Republican since I was 18 years old, so wholeheartedly believe in every plank in the platform. The planks in the platform will make this country strong and safe and secure again, Sean. So I hate to think that the Republican Party is going to be leaving me. I don't want to leave it. But if it leaves me and if it keeps straying towards that liberal failed agenda that the left, that Barack Obama just exudes, then yeah, I'm not going to hesitate to unenlisting myself from a party that, I just can't support anymore.
All right, Governor, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And you can see the governor's comments on Breitbart.com. And coming up,